All right. A motion has been made and seconded to take out committee reports. If you would like to take out committee reports, signify now by saying aye. Aye. If you would not like to take out committee reports, signify now by saying nay. Any abstentions? Okay. Take out committee reports. Okay. All right. Is there a main motion to amend or to approve this, or amend or approve this agenda with that motion? All right. The motion has been made to approve the minutes. If you would like to approve the minutes, signify now by saying aye. Aye. If you would not like to approve the minutes, signify now by saying nay. Any abstention? Okay, the minutes are approved. Okay, that does take us into special orders of the day. We do have Billy Dom. Yeah. Come on up for the RHA report.
Cool. Hi everyone, my name is Billy Donnelly. I'm the president of RHA. Rachel's been kind of coming to the last few seconds to give her updates. Our advocacy committee is going to have an outreach panel on trans awareness on December 9th in the Walt Disney Room at Memorial Union. This will be from 5 to 6 p.m. and there's also going to be gummies from 6 to 7 p.m. Tonight in Gateway Hall we have an event called Above the Hate. I will be going to talk with different presidents of all governments about the idea of hate and how we address it on this campus. RHA's Paint Pink Week just got wrapped up last month. We will be donating $5,000 to the Ellis Hotel Cancer Center. So we consider that a pretty good success for this year's Paint Pink Week. And then some other things, we recently hosted the Midwest affiliate of College University Residence Halls Conference on Halloween weekend. It was a great success. We had 400 students from across the Midwest come on this campus. We are now considering hosting the national conference, which will host about 2,000 students in the summer of 2017. So that's pretty exciting. And then several of our members in our organization are running for regional positions for the Midwest affiliate of College University Residence Halls. So that'll give us some regional experience across the Midwest. So yeah, that's about it.
Cool. Are there any questions for Billy before we head out? Oh, we do have a microphone too as well. So, any questions? Okay. Seeing none, you may take your seat. Thank you. Is Whitney Barr here? No? Okay. Whitney will be here later as to what she has told me. So, okay, that does take us into open forum. Would anyone like to speak in open forum at all? Anybody like to speak in open forum? Hold on. Hello, would you like to speak in open forum? No. No? Okay. Okay, that does take us out of open forum, and that does take us into the speaker's report. Everybody, we'll be getting our business cards after Thanksgiving break. The total cost for those will be about $300. We're going through Staples. Each person will be receiving 250 business cards. That's the least amount per person we could buy, so be looking forward to that. As well as diversity and inclusivity. Right now, we need to have a conversation, and you don't have to give me an answer now, but be thinking about this over winter break or over Thanksgiving break about how we approach diversity and inclusion. It's great that we have a social justice committee, but should each committee be integrating SJC into everything that they do? I think the answer to that is yes. And how do we approach that? How do we approach social justice in our academic affairs committee? How do we approach that in our student affairs committee? And you can really commit that in every single committee that you want to talk about. It is not just up to SJC to be tackling and handling these issues, as this is an issue that affects every student's life on this campus. So be thinking about that over Thanksgiving break. And joint session, all legislation that was approached by joint session has passed. I'll talk about the two pieces of legislation that we sponsored. One of those was the anti-smoking legislation. Katie Rogers. Katie Rogers. Just stepped up. Katie Rogers works in the Wellness Resource Center, and we were able to provide her with a piece of legislation that will give her the proper tools necessary in order to advocate for increased anti-smoking signage on campus, and they'll be working together in the spring semester to make that project come to realization. And it'll be really exciting for new senators and old senators to see where funding comes from and how we pull together projects like this, these bigger projects. The other piece of legislation that we passed was the having and ensuring the minority opinion in administration hiring practices. And in that piece of legislation, we advocated for the Student Athletic Advisory Council as well as LBC, and I believe Peyton also. There were two other organizations that were on that piece of legislation, Forefront and, excuse me, who was the fourth one? Yeah, MISC. Escape my mind. Will be involved in the administrative hiring processes for the chancellor, vice chancellors, the provost, and vice provost. So it is up to us now to carry that opinion forward and to represent that opinion in all the conversations that we have. So that takes us out of speaker's report. Does anyone have any questions of me before we move on? Okay, cool. That does take us into the legislative chief of staff report. Leslie.
All right, I don't have much tonight. The biggest thing that I'm working on right now before we go on break is increasing the visibility of our legislation and really getting it out there, especially when we pass really key pieces of legislation that are going to affect the entire student body. So this is a conversation that we had at Cabinet last night, and I'm going to continue to work on it. Mostly we're going to be utilizing basically our followership that we have on Twitter and focus on first putting things out on Twitter, especially through the general MSA Twitter account, not just our MSA Senate one, and working with David currently to increase the visibility on the website itself and kind of making that more user-friendly. And then the second thing is that I'm going to be sending out jacket and polo forms tonight to go out, and so those can be personalized polos or non-personalized, so make sure that you kind of like note the difference on those forms, but those are going to go out tonight. And then your mentorship goal, so if you guys didn't turn in your mentorship goal to me of drafting your fake piece of legislation, do that tonight because it was supposed to be done before we got here, but it's okay if you forgot. And then we're not going to have a mentorship goal that I'm announcing tonight for you to finish by the next Rural Senate because we have Thanksgiving break, and so it would be kind of hard to get that in, and I understand that. So we'll have that when we get back from break, and then we'll have like an end of the year like party for the mentorship program, which will be really fun. All right, that's all I got.
Cool. Thank you, Leslie.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Leslie before we move forward?
How much are the jackets and the polos going to be?
The clothes are going to be around $45, and then
The jackets.
The jackets are going to be around $45, and then the polos are going to be around $25 to $35, and then it's going to be about $7 for personalization.
Cool. Any further questions for Leslie before we move forward? Okay. That does take us into the executive reports. You have the floor, Mr. Head.
Right.
President Head.
Hey, everybody. Oh.
Hello.
Kind of dry there, as usual. Okay. The biggest thing that we're working on in the executive cabinet is calling for the Institute of Social Change. And so for those of y'all who were at joint session, well, we had one recently, but I think there was like 3 people there, the recall. It seems like there's always a disaster during joint session, but you know, here we go. So we're calling for an Institute of Social Change. And so what this would be is a long-term solution to solving some of the systematic problems that we're having here at Mizzou. We have national and international spotlight right now. I'm getting information. There's people emailing me from Canada and from Mexico and from Turkey, surprisingly, and Chile. They all want to know what's happening here at the University of Missouri. So while we have this attention, we want to call for an Institute of Social Change so that we can bring in some $1 million donors to put their money where their mouth is if they want to see some change happen here at this university. So we're really, really excited about that. Moving forward, we're continuing the conversation that Concerned Students started, and it's something that has sparked national interest. So I will be traveling to Duke University this Friday and doing a presentation there for their student body so they can talk about some of the things that are happening at Mizzou, which is truly wonderful. The one thing that I want you all to realize too is that, you know, while the media is trying to paint Mizzou as a hotbed of racial harassment and racial aggression and everything, we're really not. I think the most important things for you all to realize moving forward, especially as student leaders, is that it is important that we're having these conversations. And other universities around the nation, they didn't even have the conversation started. So they're looking to us for our leadership. And it's been seen in the solidarity that we're getting from over 150 schools around the nation. And it's been calls from everywhere, friends at Yale, Harvard, Oklahoma, all of the schools here in the state, they've been talking about it as well. And it's been leading to a lot of national changes, which is good. And President Obama mentioned us too, so it's always great to hear. So if you all have any additional questions or concerns as to what's going on, I will try to keep you all as filled in as much as possible. I think as student representatives for MSA, it's really, really important that you are aware of everything that's happening on campus and how it's going to influence, the generations to come here at Mizzou. I'm having a lunch tomorrow with the interim vice chancellor of diversity and inclusion, Mr. Chuck Henson. He's great, and he's helping to work on some of these issues that we're having, as well as interim system president Mike Middleton, who was wonderful. He was our deputy chancellor here at Mizzou, and he was able to make a lot of changes to this institution, such as creating the Legion of Black Collegians and calling for different changes to be made at the university level. And so now we see him in the system president office, and I'm really confident that he's going to make some changes to affect Mizzou for the better. So that's a little bit of what's happening in the executive cabinet right now. Obviously, we're getting into the lame duck period, but we have no intentions of being lame ducks. We want to make sure that the next leaders, whoever is elected, will be able to transition effectively into this role. It's not an easy role, especially right now with all eyes on Mizzou and all eyes on student leadership especially. Don't read everything you see about me in the media, because it's not true. But I'm just saying that we are working very hard for you every single day, and it's much appreciated, all of the support that I've received from you all and from student leadership all around. And so I know there's a lot to get to, but I did want to clarify anything if anybody had any questions at this moment. No? All right. Well, thank you all so much. I will turn it back over to your speaker.
Thank you, Peyton. Thanks, Kevin. I wanted to add on to what Peyton said real quick, and just let everyone in this room know, I don't know how many of you know about what 4chan is, but it's kind of the cesspool of the internet in a lot of ways. And I mean that because there were organizers on 4chan, which is kind of like an anonymous version of Reddit, who were attempting to organize a race war at MU. As in, they were creating fake profiles to talk about issues on our campus, and they were creating fake identities of people that don't exist. They were talking with each other, they were reposting content, they were having arguments with each other, regardless of whether or not they believed those beliefs, because they wanted to disrupt and to unsettle our community here. So keep that in mind, especially with, yeah.
I was just going to say that a lot of it still is pending investigation, so we'll try to keep you as updated as possible.
Yeah.
Because what you might think that you see right now is not true. There's a lot that's going on behind the scenes with a lot of things that are coming out. So Kevin hit on
Yeah.
it's really interesting to see, actually.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
People have that much time on their hands.
Yep.
But stand strong, stand united, not everything seems true.
Yep. And just to give some absolute credibility to what he said, we need to support and love each other. So, that being said, we'll to go out of executive reports and into advisors reports. Our advisor could not be here today. He has been busy again. He just got back from St. Louis because of his child. His child has medical complications, and again, we wish him the best in these tough times. That takes us out of advisor's report and consideration of resolutions. Is there a motion? David? Okay. All right. We took out the committee reports. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. It's IX. And then that should just be X. And then announcements, yeah. Cool. We got the last one right. Cool. So before we move out of resolutions, is there a main motion? Is there?
Motion to bring 55-15 to the floor.
Okay. Hold on. Okay, so we'll go into second reading of X. Any main motion? Okay. Motion has been made to skip. Has been seconded. To skip the piece of legislation, or to skip second readings? Okay. We'll just go into first readings. We are now in first reading of Acts. 55-15 immediately comes to the floor. Or sorry, is there a motion to bring 55-15 to the floor?
With that motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. If you would like to bring 55-15 to the floor, signify now by saying aye. Aye. If you would not like to, signify now by saying nay. Any abstention? Okay, 55-15 does come to the floor. Is there an author present? Mitch, you do have the floor. You have 4 minutes.
Okay, so this is just a bill to expand and define the Department of Student Communications, because right now DSC is basically, well, not basically, it is just David Wallace by himself. And the way the bylaws are written right now, it's actually supposed to be 4 different committees with chairs of each of those committees, and then ideally people working under there, and none of those exist right now. So to help David, and more really to kind of help the next director, whoever that may be, we're kind of redefining it into, if you could scroll down, please. Scroll all the way down to, yeah, just the, so this is what it will look like in the bylaws. This is the change it will look like. And instead of the 4 committees, now it's just going to be 2 committees. The Outreach Committee, which we kind of see as like the physical, like tabling and stuff like that, and holding like the whiteboard talks that we do in Speaker Circle. That would be the Outreach Committee, and it would have a chair. And they would also be responsible for recruiting new members during summer welcome. And then the other committee would be the Social Media and Technology Committee, and that person would essentially like run the org sync page for MSA and for themselves, and they would also run all the Facebook and Twitter stuff and Instagram, all the different things that we do. And then I skipped a little bit ahead. If you could scroll back up for me, please. The director right there towards the bottom. The director, we are going to have them be tasked with communication within MSA, so like within us senators and everything like that, and talking to the other auxiliaries. And then they will also talk to public relations, like if any national spotlight would be on us again or something like that, we would have that director would be the main outlet to talk to the media. So I yield the rest of my time to questions.
Are there any questions for the speaker? You're a silent bunch tonight. Okay, no questions. You may take your seat. Thank you. All right. Because this is just in first readings, there will be no debate on this piece of legislation. We are now out of first reading of Acts, and we are now in announcements. So we do have Tim Davis scheduled for an announcement.
Please. Okay, so tomorrow, with everything going on that's been on campus and stuff, we've heard a lot of one side. This is just another side. I'm not saying that everyone should go, but it's a good opportunity to hear what this guy has to say. It's a different perspective. It's at 6 p.m. tomorrow in Ellis Auditorium. He is a conservative talk show host. He graduated. He's got a law degree from Harvard, so it should be a really good speech. He's going to have Q&A afterwards. That's all I've got.
All right. Is there another announcement? Main motion? Saad?
Hey guys, so I was approached by exec yesterday, and they basically told me that they want to do a Christmas drive using Senate as like the backdrop just to come together right before the holidays. More information to come on that because I haven't been contacted about the specifics, but just letting you guys know like that is in the works. All right, that's all I got.
Okay. All right. Is there further announcements? Main motions? Motion has been made to recess. Has been made and seconded. If you'd like to recess for 5 minutes, signify now by saying aye. Aye. If you would not like to recess for 5 minutes, signify now by saying nay. If you would like to abstain, say abstain. Okay, we will recess for 5 minutes. We will reconvene at 6:35.
And he still doesn't have to. I'm doing one that's like organization. I just need an upper level elective. Yeah, that's what. Are we pretty sure? Or are we definitely sure? We need to be sure. I'm sure that once he does because no one has the election. No, technically we could do it. BDC has. But do we want to I would love to look at a deep love. Jeremy. There you go. So it's going to be a part of that.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, I know there's I'm saying so that you don't have to like I didn't know that. I could just I figured that out. I can't have I can do some shadow puppet. I can sing for everyone.
I was like, I've known
Gave up life. And it was really good. It was a choreographed turning out
Yeah, no, I'll show you. So everyone's going to be like, no, I used to.
I'm scared to do that. It sounds like a lot of money to try it.
I mean, if it's bright red, then yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, that looks good.
Yeah, this is like right at the I can figure it out. As of right now, we're just trying to make sure that there's Kevin, I just had a question and have the
I wish it Billy and I Jeff, what if you colonoscopy or colonoscopy?
I don't know if it was though.
We're still. I don't know.
During the next then go into further recess, have a make a decision there. That is the process. Motion to hold out. During It is 6:35. We are to be reconvened. I'm going to count to make sure we have quorum. We need 22 to have quorum. Two.
Already.
Okay, we do have quorum, and we are reconvened. We are still in announcements. Is there an announcement to make, or a main motion?
I motion to suspend the rules.
Motion has been made to suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to suspend the rules. If you would like to suspend the rules, signify now by saying aye.
Aye.
If you would not like to suspend the rules, signify now by saying nay. Any abstention? All right, our rules are now suspended. All right, we're now in Senate suspended suspension. If there is a main motion, I will hear that now.
I move to hold ops in the next recess.
All right, a motion has been made to hold ops in the next recess. That has been made and seconded. If you would like to hold ops in the next recess that we have, signify now by saying aye.
Aye.
If you would not like to hold ops in the next recess, signify now by saying nay. Any abstention? Okay, as per full Senate, we are asking for ops to hold their meeting during the next recess.
A motion to recess for
Second.
45 minutes.
All right, a motion has been made to recess for 45 minutes. Before that happens, I would like to say that we will have to continue and hold quorum in order for us to reconvene after full Senate. With that in mind, is there a second?
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded. If you'd like to recess for 45 minutes, signify now by saying aye.
Aye.
If you would not like to recess for 45 minutes, signify now by saying nay.
Nay.
Division.
Also, if you are not, we're going to redo that. If you are not a senator, do not speak.
Division.
Division has been made. If you are a current voting senator, signify now, and you would like to recess for 45 minutes, signify now by standing up. All right, 1, 2, all right, you may sit down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Are you voting?
Yes.
Are you voting yes to recess?
No.
Okay. 23. If you would not like to recess for 45 minutes, signify now by standing up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The chair is not in doubt. We will be in recess for 45 minutes. One abstention. Thank you. Any abstentions? Okay. 2 abstentions. 3 abstentions. Okay. Hold on. Let me get my timepiece. Okay. Senate will be reconvened at 7:25 sharp. If we do not meet 22 people, we cannot have full Senate. That many people must be here. All right. With that in mind, we will reconvene at 7:25. We are now out of recess. Please take your seats. I'll give everybody a few more moments to settle down. Okay, to ensure that we have quorum, I'm going to be counting off. If every voting senator could please stand up. Correct. I'm going to make sure that we have quorum. 1. When I count you, please sit down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. You're not the one set up. Okay. Okay. Yep. Thank you. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. We have reached quorum. Thank you. You may sit down. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to send this over to you, Liz. Can you please display this? Is there, now that we are back out of recess, is there a main motion? 18. Okay, a motion has been made to bring 55-18 to the floor. I'm going to send that to you, Leslie. Would you like that, Mr. Six? Okay. One moment. Okay.
No, I said
Order. Order. Shh. All right. A motion has been made to bring 55-18 to the floor. If you would like to bring 55-18 to the floor, could you please signify now by saying aye? Aye. If you would not like to bring 55-18 to the floor, signify now by saying nay.
Nay.
The chair is not endowed. This will be brought to the floor. This piece of legislation is an act to postpone the presidential election results for 24 hours. Is there an author present? If you'd like, Alex, you may take that speech. You do have 4 minutes.
First of all, I just want to clear the air and let everybody know that I am not connected to any campaign. This has nothing to do with any of the 3 campaigns. This is all about the fact that right now there's an incredible amount of confusion surrounding these election results. And the purpose of this is we're very concerned about the idea that we might start releasing results tonight that would later be contradicted by something that the justices of the BEC rule. And we want to make sure that the BEC and the justices have ample time to consider the situation and make sure that they are able to make their decision before we start releasing results. All this does is it delays the presidential elections, not the Senate or the library fee referendum announcement, but the presidential election results for 24 hours. Again, simply for the idea that the justices and the BEC deserve an ample amount of time to make sure that they've considered this, to make sure that they have made a ruling that is fair and just in their eyes. It's not about telling the justices or the BEC what to do. That's completely up to them. I have no personal opinion. I want that to be on the BEC and the justices. I just want to make sure that they've had the time to fully consider it and the time to make sure that their ruling is out before we start announcing these results. So I'll lock the rest of my time to questions.
Okay. That does take us into questioning. Are there questions for the speaker? Sisad.
Do you think this allows for justice to be served?
Yes, and that's the real also intent behind this is we want to make sure that the justice process has the ability to go through and appeal. And justice is whatever they decide it is. It's, again, in no way telling the justices or the BEC how they should rule on any of the current issues. It's just making sure that they've had the ability to go through the proper system.
Zach.
Does this affect all of the senators that we're running to?
No, it's just for the MSA presidential election.
Tori.
How are we gonna make sure that the courts hear both sides of the complaint if just the BEC chooses to already made the decision?
Well, and that's on the BEC and the courts to decide. We don't tell them what to do. The courts, there have been, from what I understand, there have been petitions filed, and so the courts and the BEC will handle those. This is, again, not telling them how to do their job. This is just making sure they have the ability to do their job, in whatever capacity they decide is right.
Further questions for the speaker?
Do you think 24 hours is enough time?
Well, beyond 24 hours, we're getting towards break. And I'd like to have the results out before Friday, so that since students will be leaving, I feasibly we could call an emergency session and extend it longer if we needed to, but I, for the time being, think 24 hours hopefully would give them enough time, and if not, then we could handle that then. We could, like I said, call an emergency session and pass another one that would extend it even further, but hopefully 24 hours would give them enough time.
Further questions for the speaker?
At the top, this is called a act, but under the therefore clause, it says resolve. So I'm confused how this binds, the election authorities to actually do anything.
Well, it is an act, so it is binding. Resolved is just proper formatting. It's not making it a resolution. It's just be it therefore resolved that this act would be followed. This act would be passed.
Next, I will see.
Point of information. The BBC has to follow any law enacted by the Senate due to the supremacy clause in the laws.
Perhaps bring that up. The supremacy clause.
Could you please bring that up for the clarification of everyone here?
It's not a resolution.
Go to our bylaws. Further questions for the speaker?
So is this piece of legislation meant for the court and the BEC to determine the outcome of the BEC chairwoman or the complaints filed against one of the slates?
It's so they can handle presidential elections. The chair issue will be a separate issue that we'll be addressing completely separately from that. But this is so that there's a lot of confusion right now. There's a lot of processes right now that involve the presidential election, and it's giving them the time that they need to figure out whatever they want to do and whatever they think is necessary.
So,
Yes.
so it would constitute a hearing in 24 hours. That's, or you're,
It would delay the announcement for 24 hours, and then they would decide what they want to do in those 24 hours, how they want to act in those 24 hours. They're a separate entity. They handle this stuff. We don't tell them how to do it. So it's just giving them 24 more hours to figure out how they want to handle everything, so that they don't feel that they're rushed into some sort of decision, whatever that decision may be.
Final question. Anybody? Don't have it. Cory?
Where in the bylaws does it say that the Senate has the power to make a vote?
To what? We're not making them convene. We're giving them 24 hours to decide how they want to do it. Again, we're not telling them how they should handle it. We're just giving them 24 hours so the BEC and the courts can decide on their own how they want to handle this without feeling rushed to a conclusion by 8:30 tonight.
Okay. All right, you may take your seat. Thank you. Because this is only in first reading of acts, there will have to be a motion. I believe it should. Correct, but rules are suspended. We still have to make the appropriate motion to make that happen. So this is in first reading of acts. There'll be no debate unless we move this into second reading of acts.
I motion to move this into second reading of acts.
Motion has been made and seconded. If you'd like to move this piece of legislation into the second reading of acts so that we may have further discussion, signify now by saying aye.
Aye.
If you would not like to, signify now by saying nay. Any abstention? Okay. With one abstaining, the chair is not in doubt. We will move this into second reading of acts. If there's a speech in negation to this piece of legislation, you may raise your hand now, and we will call on it. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in negation of this piece of legislation? Is there anyone who would like to speak in affirmation?
I'd like to motion to the previous question.
The previous question has been made. Has been made and seconded. If you would like to move to the previous question, move to voting on this piece of legislation, signify now by saying aye.
Aye.
If you would not like to vote on this piece of legislation, signify now by saying nay.
Nay.
Any abstention?
Abstain.
Okay. With 2 abstentions and 1 in negation, the chair is not in doubt. We'll move into voting. If you would like to vote yes on this piece of legislation to delay the BEC or the MSA presidential election results for 24 hours, signify now by saying aye.
Aye.
If you would not like to delay the MSA presidential election results for 24 hours, signify now by saying nay.
Nay. Division.
Division has been called. If you would like to delay the MSA presidential elections, please signify now by standing up. All right, double check me. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Okay. 26?
No.
Okay. If you would not like to delay the MSA presidential election results by 24 hours, signify now by standing up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay.
Clarity reasons.
You can note these.
Are all of those voting centers?
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
They all have proxies.
Okay.
Yep. 7. Correct. Any abstentions? Please now rise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. On a vote of 26 to 7 to 7, this piece of legislation does pass and will be immediately put to the BEC chair, Emma Henderson. Question? No. You got it. Okay. All right. This piece of legislation does pass.
Clarification, there were 2 senators' signatures on that.
Correct. Yes. Timothy Davis and Alexander Higginbotham. All right. This does take us back into announcements. Is there any announcement to be made?
No.
Is there any main motion to be made?
A motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
We're still in announcements. A motion to adjourn will not be heard. Are there any other announcements or main motions to be made? Seeing none, that does take us into adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn has been made and seconded. If you would like to adjourn for tonight, signify now by saying aye. Aye. If you would not like to adjourn, signify now by saying nay. Any abstentions? The chair is not in doubt. We will adjourn.
We not take